Well, we've been here about 10 years, and I've been chasing hot water for a long time because I know all the wonderful things it can do. Here, what we have is called an artesian well. So we have a well that's under quite a bit of pressure, so we don't have to pump it, and it serves all of our heating needs here. Just as important as that is the cold water that also comes under pressure, that hasn't seen the light of day in a couple hundred years, and it's under pressure through a gravity head. It's a neighborhood water system in the Miracle Mile here, and we do all of our cooling with the cold water as well as all our other water needs. So the way we use all the water, yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a it's kind of like a dream for someone who likes to play around with systems. Fits really well into a lot of the permaculture visions of trying to have, trying to utilize what's here and have kind of a closed loop system.
My name is Lexi O'Malley. This is my daughter Finola, and we're from Boise, Idaho. We bought a house in Boise, and then 4 days after that got an email about this job opportunity that Onsen Farm was looking for a family or a couple to manage the farm. And so it's what my husband and I have always wanted to do, and so even though we had just bought our house, we decided, well, it's what we've always wanted to do, so we might as well go see if we can make it work. And we came out here and just fell in love with the property and fell in love with James and Leslie, the owners of the property, and we just hit the ground running and started working and got a really good training from the person who was here before, and now we're just managing these greenhouses with the help of our intern Drew, and just living the life that we have always wanted to. And part of what I love about this farm is that even though we're living down here in like somewhat primitive living, they take the time to make things like as beautiful and elegant as possible. And a lot of this stuff is just reclaimed, that he just has a stockpile of all kinds of resources. Toilet, they call it pee-ponics, so you can only pee in that toilet. We're in the middle of building a composting toilet out there, which I can show you.
We right now are working on, we have an outdoor shower. But we're having to get we have a porta potty. And because, we don't know what else to do as far as like staying in compliance and having things be safe. Well, we're kind of watching and hoping for, we have friends that like to do the composting toilet, and they like to do it in like the big compost system.
Okay.
But we're not as confident about like the composting of the human manure. We're just not as confident as we'd like to be yet.
The system that we're going to use is 2 toilets. You use one for a year and then switch to the other one and let that one sit for a year. Is that what your friends are doing?
They're doing a raised like compost pile, alternating carbon and manure and carbon and manure. But it's above ground, and so it's exposed and animals can get into it. And so I like the idea, but we also have friends who are in Boise who do it as an outhouse, and they're still doing the carbon alternating, but it stays in the ground.
That's what we're going to be doing. It's going to stay in the ground. There will be 2 toilets, and then you'll scoop after each use, and then it will just sit for a year, and then after that just use it for trees and stuff like that. So
not flowing right now.
No. Sometimes we turn it off. You want to feel the water?
I want in there.
It's not time to go swimming right now. Is it cold or warm?
It's cold.
It's cold. Oh, I don't want to go in if it's cold. So we clean this about once a week. We drain the water and scrub out all the algae and then fill it back up, and that's over here. You can turn it off. You can have cold water or hot water. So we kind of flip-flop back and forth usually.
And it's a shower too? If you
Yeah,
wanted
yep.
to?
I don't know how that works because I've never used it. But yes, this is where the previous farm manager would shower.
It's kind of a cool little path.
Oh, it's so pretty.
And I guess I haven't been here in the winter yet, but I guess he has those hot water pipes running along this path too, so when it snows it's always thawed out, which is kind of cool. And then that's the canoe that we clean out the pond vegetables with.
Pond vegetables?
Yeah.
We banned the term pond scum.
Oh.
We're not allowed to call it pond scum. It's pond vegetables.
I love it. Oh, you got fish out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could probably get quite a few shots of fish swimming around. All these little pools are bluegill
Really?
nesting spots. There's one right there. We actually have 2 really big koi in this pond that it'll be cool. You can see them following each other and they're kind of yin-yang.
Eventually we'd like to get ducks and other, we'd like to develop a pond ecosystem to help with the aeration, the clearing out of everything so that it's not just up to us in the canoe to, so.
Whenever
that's
you
part of
can
the
use
plan
animals.
also.
Yeah.
This is my little area for the summer.
It's pretty classy. It's an
Right?
actual Airstream?
Yeah, actual Airstream, like one of the very first, I think.
These
There's
are like
this-
collector's items.
I know, right? There's this book in the yurt that's this exact make or I don't know model, but exact make, and it's just right on the very front, first edition of like how to live in your Airstream or like Airstream adventures. Yeah.
It's in good shape too.
Yeah.
Good for you.
The goal is to have every living space and eventually even the campsites that they want to develop to have hot water bath.
Wow.
With the hot springs water.
That is amazing.
These valves run to this tub, but then also across over past that chair, there's like this flat spot where you could set up a tent, and the hot water goes to a little tub right behind those willows for that camping spot. So you can have like a nice hot water bath when you're camping, and then the pad for the tent is also heated.
That
You
is
can
pretty
totally
neat.
soak in that tub and just have nice, like the same hot springs water that's at Banbury and Miracle, just right in that little tub. Yeah, and she's learning how to swim in that little wooden tub that I showed you. What's that?
Do they have pockets?
No, not those pants. They don't have pockets. Kind of silly to make pants without pockets, huh? Everything needs pockets.
I know that's one thing that people worry about with family about this lifestyle is with how much work it is. Do you really have the time you still want with your kids? Is it too much work? Is it safe for the kids?
Yeah, that's one thing that we've been trying to balance here is giving her enough time, and kind of what's understood is that we have this rhythm with her. So her and I will, we show up to work a little bit later, so we can have that time together in the morning. We'll be out for a couple of hours, and then it's time for snack and lunch, and so her and I kind of fluctuate in our own rhythm throughout the day. And she helps us plant, she helps us seed, she loves to water, she loves to be out here, and so I just kind of follow at her pace, what she's willing to do. And we try to make it really fun with toys and lots of songs and singing and stuff like that. So she works with us, I would say, like 60% of the time.
These 2 greenhouses are actually free, I guess. It was like a grant. There was this some college student working on if the angled thing on the end of the greenhouse reduces like wind drag or whatever. Just however it affects or stands up against the wind is what they're wanting to test out. But I think it was like a 5-year run of they construct the greenhouses and then just basically watch to see which works better for like windstorms and stuff. And I don't really think they came to any conclusions, but we got 2 free greenhouses out of it. This turkey I actually pet to sleep almost every night. I'll come in here, put him away, and then this one's really friendly, so I'll just kind of sit here for a little outside access. Hey, Mama.
See if there's such things.
Nice to meet you.
Warm water.
This is warm water.
It's not hot, but it's like it's not.
We got banana trees.
You wanna go in here?
No
Go
way!
in here and then we can go to the fish trap.
You have actual figs on your fig.
So this is for, we started letting the chickens out midday now, rather than after we close up the greenhouses at night. And so now we have these like little gates to prevent them from coming in the greenhouses.
This is amazing.
This is
Yeah,
the
because chickens
process.
and greenhouses, they don't mix very well. We've kept quail in our greenhouses and they worked fantastically and they actually hatched out their own babies.
Really? Oh,
It was amazing.
sweet.
And we didn't have any, like the pill bugs and the centipedes and everything. None.
Nice.
There's Daddy.
You gonna be
There's
famous too? Oh yeah. How's it going?
We're all
Good,
gonna
I'm
be
Julie.
famous.
I'm Danny.
Good to meet
You
you.
as well.
This is my husband.
Hey.
We have a lovely family.
Oh, thank you.
This
I
is
agree.
what a paradise.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So yeah, this is our fig tree, cactus garden, all kinds of stuff, soil block station.
Water.
Oh yeah, this is our drinking fountain. This thing is really cool. There's a company called, what was it? Dream Farm or something like that, and they make just all these really cool little gadgets, and so you just squeeze this for your drinking fountain. Pretty cool. So this is spring water that's UV filtered. This washing machine is our salad spinner. So we wash everything in our sinks and then put it in here on the spin cycle to dry it off and then weigh it there and bag it up. So this is kind of our workstation when we're doing CSA.
So these are pretty substantial greenhouses and it's obvious there's been a lot of time and money and effort spent.
Yeah.
How did this all start as far as, was it James totally independently wealthy decided to do this, or he started with the garden and paid for everything and now he has enough of a business that he can keep doing the greenhouses and the infrastructure?
So some of this is from grants, some of it is help from others, and some of it is just dreaming and vision and hard work.
Do they actually produce?
Yeah, occasionally. We don't get enough for CSA, but we all get a little treat every now and then. Julie wants to check out the banana tree, so let's go over here. So this is what we call the catwalk. We haven't cut the leaves back in a while, but you can go all the way up there and then you can walk the length of the greenhouse on this like really sketchy
Everything should be sketchy on a farm. It just
Yeah.
lets you know you're alive.
Exactly. This is we're saving seeds in these pillowcases here. So You cut the plant when it's about to drop the seed and then stuff it in a pillowcase until it's all dried out. And then this is kind of our seed processing station here.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so here's the flower. And Drew, is this gonna turn into a banana?
No, that one's gonna probably abort.
Okay, it'll just be flowers then, huh?
But I never knew the whole thing about like the little droplets of sweet nectar, or I don't know what it is, that like drips down it.
Really?
Yeah, and James was saying that these leaves right here will fall down and then like they're kind of bowl shaped, and then all that nectar will collect down below, and you can go through the jungle and pick those up and take awesome
Really?
drinks.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Right?
That is so neat.
So the banana tree is actually not a tree. It's it grows like it's a monocot, so it grows just like grass does. So it just sends up shoots.
Can I help Daddy?
I think your shovel it should be over there somewhere. You want to find it? Where did
Can
we
I
put
help
it?
Daddy press the bed?
Oh, is she looking for a shovel?
Yeah, the purple one.
I know where it's at.
Today we're working on Brussels sprouts, and it looks like Danny has some diatomaceous earth right here, which means maybe a lot of earwigs.
Yeah.
A lot of times we, when we're pulling stuff out, he was pulling plants out of here. I don't want you to play with the white powder. This is that diatomaceous earth stuff. It's not good for people to play with. So there's one chicken that we have that we just named her yesterday, Minerva Louise. She is fairly tame compared to the other ones. She's pretty smart, and we use her a lot for pest control, bug control. So when we're pulling beds, we'll bring her in and she'll get all the earwigs and the pill bugs and everything, and so she helps us a lot in that regard.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Have fun on the tour.
It's beautiful.
So we use these boards. I don't know if these ones are really here intentionally, but we use these boards to collect bugs and then bring the chicken in.
Good idea. So how many CSA members do you have?
This summer is our first summer CSA, and we have 18 members. So that's a bi-weekly delivery, one to Twin Falls and one to Ketchum Sun Valley Haley. So let's see, this week we had 10 going to Twin Falls, and then next week we'll have 8 going to the Haley area, the Wood River Valley. So you want to go up here? It's not sketchy if you just go up to the top.
Okay.
And I can move the leaves for you.
Did you want to go in front then?
Yeah. Since you're holding the camera. Oops, sorry, banana leaf.
No, you're good.
There you go. Alright, so just, I would say, maybe last week, I was able to come up here. There were no leaves in the way.
Holy cow, so they grow fast.
They grow so fast. And you could just, like, if you want to, I don't know, there's spider webs and stuff, but a lot of times they'll, I think in the winter time, this is where they start the seeds. So they have boards, like right there. And then you can go all the way down. There's even some flats you can still see back.
So does the banana kind of die back in the winter?
No, we have to cut it. We just cut the leaves. I think because it's heated and it stays humid in here, that it's fine.
So you start your seeds, like your seed trays up here,
Yeah.
and it stays warm enough?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so bad. I'm killing. What it reminds me a little bit of is, I don't know, have you read the book Sylviva? Have you read the book Sylviva? It's about this kind of greenhouse, except she has her house in it.
Oh.
So it's connected. It warms her house and the greenhouse.
And I think we also do a lot of microgreens and stuff too. In the wintertime, this will be a good spot for those.
Dripping
So,
down.
this part?
And so, yeah, lick this part right here.
Oh, okay.
It's just like straight sugar.
Oh wow, that's super good.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's really good.
then-
Next door they have greenhouses that are about this size, and they have 40-year-old grapefruit trees, orange trees, lime, lemon, fig. farm chariot.
Oh, I love a farm chariot. Everybody needs one.
I'll let you in so the star doesn't.
So you have a shade cloth over it?
Yeah, I believe there's 2 shade cloths and then a swamp cooler, 2 fans.
Wow, it's what, 10, 20 degrees cooler in
Yeah,
here?
usually I believe it's about 20 degrees cooler than the rest of the farm and the other greenhouse.
Wow.
Unbelievable. So this is an aquaponics system. It's not in use right now, but how it works is under your feet actually is a big container, basically where the fish would live.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sure. So the fish live in there, and oh, you want to? That's right.
But there's no fish in there right now.
Not right now. No, so the fish live in there, and every 30 minutes the water level goes down, and that water floods here. So your plants are directly in these rocks here. These hold the nutrients and the biomass of soil. So this is everything that the plants need is in here, and then it just gets flooded, and so the water just goes back and forth every 30 minutes.
So does the fish waste go up into the...
Yeah, so that's for, you know, the nutrients and everything, and that's something that's used a lot in permaculture because it's a closed loop system, so you're not pulling water in from anywhere, you're not pulling nutrients in from anywhere, compost, manure, things like that. It just works. And then that's a tea tree back there. You make tea tree oil. Yeah, you can break off a piece and smell it. It smells so good. I have this set up. So this sink doesn't work, sweetheart. So my husband could tell you more about this process, but you're basically just growing big sprouts. So here's a tray that's finished and ready to be harvested. These are, I believe, these are peas. So we'll cut them at this stage, and then you can just add them to salad mix, or they're very nutrient dense. They hold all the nutrients that the whole plant would ever have. So super, super yummy.
And those are your evaporative coolers?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, these are the swamp. This is a swamp cooler. This swamp cooler was scavenged from a greenhouse operation in Twin Falls, I believe. This company from Germany was testing watermelons. They wanted to grow watermelons without seed, I believe, and so they were doing all these different testings for that. I think it was like, they put like $1 million into it, all these greenhouses, and it ended up not working out, and so James was able to go scavenge some of their resources, and I think they just donated to the cause because their thing didn't work out, so I think he got that swamp cooler for free. It's an enormous, enormous swamp cooler.
And the water drips on the outside and is blown through?
Yeah.
And is it layer of cardboard? I've seen it before as layers of cardboard.
Yeah, so there's I can take you on the other side and show you. There's a PVC pipe on the top with holes, and so the water gets pushed through, and then it goes down, and then it actually goes on that side of the greenhouse.
Wow. And there's a fan on the other side.
No.
It's just the air is coming through.
It's being sucked through by those 2 fans on the other side.
Wow. What a process.
There were a lot of holes that we discovered once we turned that on where the air was escaping, so we had to really tighten everything up. So this is a pretty tight greenhouse. I think there's something really unique about the vision that James and Leslie have. They know how to make things beautiful and how to make them enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, they don't believe in working yourself to the bone and being stressed out and not enjoying yourself. So there's so many little components all over the farm that just help you feel good about what you're doing, and
I don't like
Pond dips are required when it's hot, and soaking in the hot tub is required if you don't like the wind. Okay. So we were just pulling out a bunch of parsley from greenhouse 2 because it's going to seed. So. Alright, come on in. So this is another hot house. This will be a really good season extender for us. We have, we just put in peppers and tomatillos, and so once it starts getting cold, we'll put the plastic back on and keep it warm for those guys. Right now in here, there's actually a lot of empty bed space, but we try to keep 20% of all of our beds in a beneficial planting. So that's actually what some of this parsley was for pollinators. And we have this, I'll take you over there to this Ami plant. We have a lot of Ami everywhere, and the pollinators love it. The beneficial insects like it too. So we got sweet peas. Watch your step. I always trip in this greenhouse on like just these different things, so just watch your step.
Is this your native soil?
What's that?
Is this your native soil? It looks a little lava basalt.
Heavily amended.
Is it?
Yeah, it's native, but they have added a lot of just organic matter and compost, and so I can show you what the native soil looks like without any amendments. It's pretty
Bleak.
yeah.
So do you do winter planting? Your carrots look quite far along.
Yeah, we do. We can pretty much, we have a cold house, which is the greenhouse number 3. We've got the hot houses across the pond. So we kind of have like every season here of greenhouse. We can kind of, if we plan it out right, we can kind of plant anything we want. So this, I wish I could tell you more about this. Something to do with either heating or cooling the water in the greenhouse in here. No, I wish James was here because he could go on and on about probably more of like the gritty like info that you're wanting to know about. These are fans with a radiator, and I imagine it must be for heating because I've never seen it turned on in the summer. So I think it's probably just a heater.
And so with the red hose, hot water goes in and then the heat is blown through the greenhouse.
So we call this the fish shack. It's the hydro house. So here's the actual working mechanism there. And as far as we know, water comes in through here. And then this creates the energy, and then it gets stored in those batteries.
That's crazy.
And so everything, the octopad, the trailer, the greenhouses, it's all on hydro.
That's incredible.
So,
Yeah.
so this is, we call it the trout pond.
Oh, I missed
See
the
those
frogs. Oh my gosh, they're huge.
Oh yeah, there's one.
Oh my gosh, they're
we
so
almost stepped on
pretty.
another one. Oh,
They are so pretty. Oh, look at that water. It's so clean.
So we also do pond dips in here. This water is freezing cold, and so you only do a pond dip here if you like.
Desperately.
If you're like really stressed out and it's like so hot and you just need like a total 180 to your day, this is the deal.
So yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. The financing here, that's been a long story, and currently we have no mortgage on the property, and we feel very lucky about that because this wouldn't work otherwise. And certainly one of the things we do is train people to, we try to train people to go out into the world and do this kind of thing. So part of the vision here is food production. The other half of the vision is education and being able to empower people with the confidence and the tools and the understandings to go out and do this kind of lifestyle. We are currently in negotiations on the property next door to expand what we're doing on the food and the education side of things. So this 5 acres that my wife and my partner own and the systems we've developed here are wonderful, and yet they haven't really satisfied my need for what I'd like to accomplish, and which is to have it be a little bit more accessible to more people. And so that's why we're jumping in pretty deep next door.
And some of the systems that you have in place, in case we mislabeled them when we did our tour, what are the names of the systems that you have in place here?
Sure. Let's start with the hot water. That's a artesian well. That's a well that's under pressure. Cold water is a neighborhood water system. Our neighborhood has a spring box on the cliff, which gives it the pressure we need to do everything we need to do on this farm, and it also runs the pivot and the wheel line next door. And again, that's spring water. It's really high quality cold water, which enables us to do fish. So fish is a big part of what we're moving into as well. The power system, we have 2 power systems. One is a photovoltaic or PV system, and that powers the shop and one of the houses. And then we have what they call a micro hydro. It's a small turbine that runs 24/7 off of the water pressure, and that turbine feeds our trout pond with oxygenated water. So it's a really elegant system. And then flowing through our property, we have what we call tailwater, which is all the water we've used, and now it has to go somewhere because all of our systems flow through. And the tailwater, we are getting set up to raise warm water tilapia. And then there's a lot of life in the ponds. We have a lot of ponds here, and we're learning more about gardening those and benefiting from those, and that'll be a long-range study. We have 5 dwellings on the property. They're all heated and cooled with the water, and because we don't have that kind of energy demand from electricity, we're able to cover our electrical needs with this small turbine, which I don't know if they showed you it, but I'm happy to.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and you heat and cool the greenhouses as well, so your homes and the greenhouses are heated and cooled.
Right.
With the water.
Right. Currently, just this, what we call number 3, is cooled with the greenhouses, or with the water. Yeah.
Okay.